Hello, and welcome back to Amateur Philosophers Play Games. I'm Noah, your host.
I'm Justin, the gamer.
And this is the show where we play video games and discuss philosophical ideas, problems, and philosophize about random topics. So, Justin, we've been playing Breath of the Wild for, I don't know, it's been a while now.
A while now.
And we're still not far.
Yep, I know.
Okay.
I'm very slow.
It's okay. The point of this game is to just be a fun exploration, wandering around Hyrule, having a good time. But let's be real here. Nobody comes here to watch. Well, I don't know about nobody. Not many of our viewers come here to watch you drown or fight goblins or whatever you do in Breath of the Wild. They come here to talk about and listen to us talk about philosophy. So, what is the philosophical idea we're talking about today?
Well, so
drowning.
Yes, we're going to talk about drowning. No, so Noah, let me pose you with a question.
All right.
Let's say there was an artist who had studied with who had worked with every shade of blue imaginable, except for one. He had never encountered the shade of blue. And then he is presented with a line of all the shades of blue, but one is missing. The one that he's never seen before. So it's like they go from getting lighter to darker, right? And then one of them is missing, the one that he's never seen. Would he be able to imagine that shade of blue? Because I remember I sent you a spicy meme earlier this week, and it said there is no limit to human imagination. And you were like, I'm sure somebody could do something along those lines. Well, could you imagine something that you've never seen?
Yeah, that is a good question. My first indication for this missing shade of blue, the artist should be able to visualize it, because as you said, the shades of blue are all on a spectrum, and people who deal with light and color and art are used to spectrums of colors. That's quite a common thing. So my thought would be, yes, you should be able to visualize what should come on the spectrum, even if you haven't seen it. And I think, obviously, we're talking about colors. You can apply this to really any idea of... I think where this question goes is it possible to imagine or visualize something you've never seen or experienced?
Yeah. So David Hume brings up the idea that we only... I know. We kind of like him.
For those who aren't aware, he's the philosopher. I don't know. I don't remember when he was from. 17th, 18th century?
Something like that, in England.
One of those guys.
Yeah, he breaks down our ideas and what we imagine into two categories. We have simple ideas and we've got complex ideas. Simple ideas come from just our experiences. For instance, I see a mountain right now. Therefore I know what a mountain is. Like, I've seen one, so I can imagine a mountain. And I use that mountain to base all my other mountains that I think of. And we have complex ideas, which are a combination of simple ideas. So, for instance, I know what gold is, so I could imagine a golden mountain. But I can only imagine a golden mountain because I've seen gold and I've seen a mountain. If I had never seen gold, I could not imagine a golden mountain.
All right. I follow so far. Hold on real quick. Turn to your left. Look over the ridge. Is that a...
Is that something?
Am I crazy? Did I see a shrine over there?
I don't know, but I'm falling. You know what?
No, that's just the sun. I am blind. Sorry. Continue.
It's just the sun.
But the sun has very much the shrine orange.
Is that just one of those fancy rocks, right by my spear thing? You see it, that blue thing?
I think so. Yeah, that could be.
Okay, let's go. Yep. Let's see if I can get over there. It's raining, unfortunately, so I can't climb any of the rocks.
Good old Breath of the Wild rain.
I'm stuck.
I mean, you can always jump down and paraglide to the ground, but that doesn't get you where
There
you
is
want
no
to go.
ground. There is only water.
You can fast travel? I don't think that's a great idea at the moment, but...
It's not a terrible one, though. What is this? Can I go here? No.
No, I don't think so.
I could fast travel
I think because
right?
you're trying to make progress to a specific point, fast traveling is not a great idea.
Yeah,
but
I'm about to die, so,
you are...
Wait, I have a stamina thing. Where's my stamina? I just need enough to survive. Before I could fall.
Yeah.
and like maybe reach shore. See, if I don't
Right.
swim, I think I'm fine. So if I just follow the current, maybe I'll die if I fall though. But you know, who cares? Nope. Apparently,
No, all right.
All right.
Well, I don't know where you're going exactly, but who cares? That's what makes Breath of the Wild fun. Anyway, back to
yes.
back to good old Davy Hume
Davy Hume.
and his
So-
simple and complex ideas.
Yes,
Golden
so-
Mountain you were talking about.
Oh, I could just grab the fish.
Yeah.
Cool. So so is that true? Do you think? Do you only have ideas
okay.
based off of things that you've experienced? Is empiricism really true?
So, what do you mean? Or what exactly do you mean? Is it true? Like, so far I follow the idea of okay, you can combine ideas or combine things you understand to create a new thing. Like I know what gold is, I know what a mountain is, so I could picture a golden mountain even though I've never seen one, and to our knowledge they don't exist. I believe that. That makes sense.
Okay, it's not just that you can, it's that you only can. As in, you cannot imagine things beyond what you've been exposed to. You are limited to
Oh, I see.
only your life experiences.
That's a good question.
That's why philosophers get paid the big bucks, Noah.
Do they get paid the big bucks? I was not aware philosophy was a well-paying job in the year of our Lord 2022. But yeah, can you visualize something that is entirely outside of your life experience? Well, let's say let's take this step early. Aliens, let's say space aliens. I've never experienced aliens. I don't, to our knowledge, nobody really has, or at least not very verifiable reports. But I can still visualize them. However, you could say, well, maybe you haven't experienced anything like in reality, but you've experienced other animals and you've seen movies or read books or what have you about space aliens existing, so that's how you visualize it. So you can get ideas, it seems to me, you can get ideas from physical things you've experienced. You can get ideas from other ideas, but can you get... I think what you're asking is, can you get an idea from nothing? Ex nihilo, to borrow a term from theology.
Oh yeah, you gotta bring Latin in here, don't you?
What can I say?
Can't let that high school class go to waste.
Justin, I make a YouTube channel about talking about philosophy. If I'm not trying to sound smart, I don't know what I am doing.
Do you know that phrase in Latin? Everything sounds like better in Latin.
Everything sounds smarter in Latin. Yeah, I don't remember what that is in Latin, but I probably whatever. I don't actually remember too much Latin, even though I did take it in high school. I sadly do not remember too much. But anyway, can we visualize? I'm using the word visualize. Is that the right word to use here?
I feel like it is.
Imagine?
Philosophers often imagine, visualize. People often, oh wow, I just got hit with something. Philosophers often use the term like visualize to talk about the mind's eye and like how you can see things.
I'll stick with visualize.
Which apparently
for now.
some people can't.
Huh? Really?
Yeah, no, they lack the ability to. Hold on, this is not the way I wanted to do this, but apparently I have a bomb.
Don't be a terrorist. Oh, well. Terrorism achieved.
No, well, dang it! I thought I would kill him.
Anyway,
so
that's actually interesting. I've never heard of being unable to visualize things in your mind's eye, but we'll stick with that terminology for now until we find a reason to abandon it. Well, the first question is, have I ever visualized something that doesn't exist? I don't think so. Like, okay, so we can talk about more concrete topics such as aliens or golden mountains. What about more abstract ideas like mathematics? And I'm not talking about just seeing the numbers, how to say it, like the sort of fundamental mathematical ideas. Wow, that sounds pretentious. Yeah.
Know what? You make a philosophy channel, YouTube channel.
Yeah. I took the pill of pretentiousness a long time ago. Anyway, the fundamental mathematical ideas.
Do you mean like?
Really...
You mean like, can I see addition?
Yeah, because visualize isn't exactly the word I would use for that, but it's kind of is. I don't know. Huh. Well, let's leave mathematics aside for now. I think that's getting a little too esoteric. I'm not really sure how. Let's stick with the physical world for now. So,
Can you see something that isn't a combination of things you've seen prior?
Right. So I'm trying. So let's start with. Are you familiar with the impossible triangle? It's like a trick of artistic drawing where
Like the Primrose Triangle?
Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Basically, it is a drawing of a three-dimensional triangle. You have 3 planks of wood that all intersect perfectly with each other, and don't leave anything. It's hard to, you know what, editing Noah, leave a link to a picture of a impossible triangle in the description. Thank you, editing Noah. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna die apparently.
Oh, no, you can just fight him off.
Yeah, let's just fight him off. Let's just.
You might want to lock. Oh, okay.
How do you lock on again?
Left trigger, I believe. Oh, you hit yourself, dude.
Hey, okay, I'm trying. Okay, I'm out here doing my best.
You certainly are. No one can argue with that. So yeah, I was saying I can visualize an impossible triangle, which is, but the way it works, it's impossible to create in the world. But am I just visualizing it based off of, say, pictures I've seen or drawings or things like that? Okay, here's an interesting one. I can, let's say, Okay, how about this? I think I can visualize things that are impossible to synthesize in the real world. Like, I've seen the impossible triangle, so that doesn't count. But let's say, here's
a good example. I have never seen a tetrahedron. It comes up in philosophy occasionally, but I've purposefully not seen one, specifically so that I can, like, personally try and answer this question. I have refused to, like, look at images of them. So a tetrahedron is a 1,000-sided figure. Can I imagine a 1,000-sided figure?
Yeah.
Like, can I? I can, like, try, I guess, kind of, like, but I don't know what it looks like. Like,
well, no, okay, sure. A tetrahedron is a 1,000-sided figure. I don't think I've ever seen one of those, but I don't think my mind is powerful enough to keep the image totally pure, but I can visualize, okay, well, this is what a triangle looks like, this is what a square, pentagon, octagon, hexagon, and I can sort of expand outward. But again, that's taking ideas of, well, I've seen what these other shapes look like. Now I'm just using that as a template. But that's an interesting question. Point of our question is using a template, but going beyond the template count for visualizing something you've never seen before. Or that's something that's not a combination of things you've seen before. Because if you want to get really, not definitional, but you could make the argument, well, I mean, you know what a shape is, and you know what the word 1,000 means, so if you're trying to visualize a 1,000-sided shape, that's really just a combination of those two. Which, that is a point, but again, so yeah.
I feel like that's not taking the, I feel like that's not being very charitable.
Exactly. Exactly, so.
Because the idea of a shape is not, like,
yeah,
isn't a defined thing that you could really base off of. It's just like an enclosed set of lines.
Yes. All right. So we've trying to define if you can visualize something you've never seen, and that's not a combination of things. Okay, how about this? Does it count if it is partially things you have seen, but also partially things you have not seen? Is that acceptable for this criteria?
What do you mean?
So, let's say I'm trying to visualize a house with, let's say, all right, sure, a house that is colored a shade of blue I have never seen before. I know what a house is, but I don't know what that other shade of blue is.
It's almost like a missing shade of blue, you could say.
A missing shade of blue. It's almost like I picked this example on purpose. So, does that count? How about? because it is a mixture of things I've seen and a thing I have not seen.
So you've seen a house, so you know what a house is, and so you're saying, all right, I can imagine a house, but can I imagine the house in a shade of blue I've never seen before?
Yeah. I suppose that's just asking the question, can you see what that shade of blue is? So I don't
yeah,
really
you're just re-asking the question.
Fair enough. This is a difficult question. I'm going to say,
because remember, originally you had said that you can see the missing shade of blue.
Yes. But that's the question, or the point is, the shade of blue, if it's on a spectrum, filling in a missing blank is kind of implied by the words on the side. The words on the side. Or the colors on the side, so...
Right, the question is, I mean, clearly the man would be able to identify that there is a missing shade.
Yes,
like, he wouldn't be sitting there going, he wouldn't be thinking, this is totally complete. It would be, obviously something is missing.
Right.
But the question is, could he imagine what that color would look like? Or would he simply be saying, oh, something's missing. Oh no. Oh no. I'm out of pillars! No! Run, you fool!
I will, you have like, I don't know if you have any arrows, but I think you might need to get closer to hit him with a sword and not be on the other side of the room.
I know, but originally he was doing the spinny thing with the ball and chain, and so I was like running away from that.
Okay, well now he's not, so go.
Now he's not, but like I was already pretty far away. Okay. Oh god, he's not done! Yay, pillar.
Is now a good time to mention that if you have a shield and you time it properly, you can reflect lasers back at their...
Yeah, that would be a great time to mention that, Noah.
Oh, okay. Because it came up earlier, or came up in a previous episode, I don't remember which one, but...
That was probably like a month ago, Noah.
It probably was,
I've slept since then.
You have slept since a month ago? I would hope so.
Okay, got this. Okay, how do I shield? It's this, right?
Okay, so it's the same button as the lock on. So yeah, as it comes at you, I think if you press A, you knock it back. Nope, not like that.
Well,
while you figure that out, I will.
Yeah, no, keep talking.
While you figure that out, I will keep.
This will take a second, but I don't think I'm gonna die. So.
Right. So you've got.
So the missing shade of blue, and Kant kind of delves into this a little bit. It's slightly related, but not entirely, about synthetic versus analytical ideas. So there are simple ideas that exist that we know because of like our experiences, but then there's also things that we know based off of the world that we live in, like based off of our reality.
Right. Okay. So I'll make this statement. I think this is where I've landed, and you can tell me how the philosophers have laughed at this position so far. You can visualize something that doesn't exist if you have a framework. So for example, the artist who works with the color blue is intimately familiar with what blue means and what blue entails. So this artist can visualize a missing shade of blue. Because she has seen other kinds of blue before. However, you can't. You probably cannot. No, I'll be strong. You cannot visualize something that is truly not connected to anything you've ever seen before. So I can visualize. Okay, here. I'll since I'm kind of a book nerd in some ways, I'll use it in book terms. I can visualize a novel I have never read, but because I have in a genre I'm familiar with. So let's say fantasy. All right, fantasy. I read a fair bit of fantasy. I can visualize a fantasy novel I've never read. I can probably even I can visualize both the general plot outline and the individual words on some pages, but that's because I am familiar with fantasy. I cannot visualize something I've never heard of. So I can't, I don't even know what that would be, because if I try to, I can't even define it.
I did it!
He's
dead! Is that, wait, was that the whole shrine? Is there more? I thought this was just a giant...
You can grab, no, this is, you just grab the stuff. You can drop my shield. Yeah.
Let's get rid of
this.
Like
the broken one, maybe? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The breaking one. Yeah, and now you can go get your reward.
Look at me and my fancy sword.
You know, fancy sword. So yeah, because there we go. If I were to try to describe something I've truly never seen before, that's also not connected to anything I know of. Well, I know of the words I'm using to describe it, so that's a connection. So you can't do that. Or at least you can't talk about that. Does that make sense? Then let me try to rephrase it in a way that makes more sense. So you can talk about a missing shade of blue because you have seen blue. I can talk about a missing novel because I've read novels. I cannot talk about a missing blank because any words I would use to describe blank are connections to it.
So this is a really roundabout way of saying that you can only have complex ideas. Either you experience it or you have to build it based off of your prior experiences. And you cannot make something you cannot come up with something like, you cannot make OC content.
Well, sure. Yes. All right. If that's what we're saying, no, you cannot come out with something truly from nothing. You cannot come out with it ex nihilo, to pull out my Latin again, because again, if you want to take this to its logical extreme, can you write a book out of nothing? Well, no, because all the words in the English language already existed. You can maybe create a few words like Shakespeare did, but though the book will be written out of something that existed before, i.e. language. If you want to make a painting, so you see what I'm saying? So I think that is where we're going with this. But again, I don't know if that takes this argument too far.
I feel like it kind of does, because it's not about whether or not like you use things. It's whether or not those things are like, how do I put this? The difference between like, okay, it would be like saying like, okay, I have a blank canvas, I have some paint. Okay, now I'm going to make a painting. The painting is original if, like, for instance, like no one has ever painted this landscape before.
Okay.
Then that is a genuinely like authentic new painting that no one has ever done before.
But is it though? Because the landscape existed already.
I said painting. This painting is original.
Oh.
It's not a copy of... I didn't use some other painting as a reference to make this painting. So what you're saying is that, oh, well, because you had paint to use the painting, you used
that's what
things.
I'm saying. You could take that you could take the argument of you can... depending on how strongly you want to define what it means to have a complex idea. Okay. And we've kind of gone around in a circle, but I feel like instead of a normal circle, this time it's a spiral. Yes, we've gone in a circle, but we've climbed up a little bit, you know?
Hey, we've made progress.
We've made progress. Okay. Yeah. So...
Hey, look, I made progress too in the game. I don't want to hear I don't make progress. I made progress. I beat a shrine.
You did. Only... I don't even know how many shrines are in the game, like a few hundred, I think? Several hundred? Anyway.
You're joking, right?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to get all of them. You technically don't have to get any of them.
You don't have OCD, Noah. You don't have to get all of them.
Well... You can't get them if you
I need to find the missing shrine.
Can you visualize a shrine that the game developers didn't put in the game? Yeah.
That's a good question.
So yeah, that's my argument. I would say, to some extent, yes, you can have an idea that is that is more than complex, let's say. It's not a simple idea. It's not even a directly complex idea. It is a hyper-complex idea. Ooh.
Making up terms now.
If there's an existing term for it, I will use that, but I don't know if there is. But, so yeah, you can, to some extent, come up with hyper-complex ideas, but you cannot truly create an idea out of absolute nothing. You have to have some kind of baseline. What that baseline is, be it language, be it the landscape that you are painting, there has to be something. To, again, pull some theology into it, Christians, and I think most theistic beliefs, believe that only God has the power to truly create out of absolute nothing, because he's God and we are humans. So, but yeah, that's a little side note. All right, how's that answer? How did I do, teacher?
I mean, I feel like, yeah, I think in a way you've kind of muddied the water in the sense of like saying that we have complex ideas and humans can't make things and we're just kind of lame in that way. But I'll pose this question. Okay, then all right. Let's say instead of there being a missing shade of blue, because this is something I brought up in philosophy class, and I feel like some people didn't get quite what I was asking, and so it kind of got like people were just very confused. So let's see what the audience thinks and what you think, Noah. So let's say you have you hold the position. You can identify the missing shade of blue. Does it also stand to reason that you could be given any number of shades of blue, and you would be able to perfectly put them in order of like dark to light? Because you know what they all look like, and each time you could imagine, okay, this one goes in between these two because I can imagine what's missing, and so it would obviously be the shade.
And you're saying you can be given any... So you have a palette of shades of blue that you have never seen before, and you're seeing them for the first time now, and you're asked to put them in order from dark to light? Is that what you're saying?
That wasn't what I was saying, although that is interesting. I would be interested to see how you would think of that.
Because I think that's a slightly different question, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, so...
Can you restate your question? I don't think I quite get it.
Okay, so you're given, let's say, 100 shades of blue. Each one equally mixed, or evenly mixed with some white to be slightly... Oh, wow. Did I just burn him? I think I just set him on fire.
You also chopped him up a lot. You chopped him up a lot and then burned him.
Wow. Okay. Is this a game about serial killers? Because it feels like a game about serial killers.
They're monsters, and don't worry, they come back at the next blood moon.
That's true, actually. I feel less bad now. Anyway. Oh, I have an inventory card. So, you have like 100 shades of blue. Each one is equally lighter or darker than the next, right? Could you see those and then say, okay, I can perfectly put these in order because I can, each time I'm given a set of 2, I can imagine the 2 that go in between them. So like, let's say I give you white, and then I give you the bluest blue, whatever that is, out of the 100.
Right.
You could imagine, okay, well, halfway between there must be this shade because it would be the halfway point, because I can imagine the shade that would be missing between these 2.
Okay.
And then in between those 2, I can imagine that missing one.
I see. All right, so I think it might help if we put some numbers on it. So let's say you start out with 1, which is the whitest of them, and then you give me color 1, which is the whitest of them, and you give me color 100, which is the darkest of them, right? And you're asking, can you visualize 25, 50, and 75 and put them in that order, even if you haven't seen those?
Oh, that was the part that I was unclear about. I don't remember saying that you'd never seen them before, but...
Oh, okay. Well, if you have seen them before, and assuming you have a good memory for colors, then certainly I think you could say between these 2 shades, here are, in theory, there could be infinite. I don't know about truly infinite, but there would be a large number of shades that could go in between here. So here are 2 or 3 shades that would fit in between 0 and 100. Yeah, I think that's possible.
And you could put them perfectly in order.
I mean, there's always going to be human error, but I think this comes down to more of a question.
But you can see the missing shade. You can see the shade that's missing.
I mean, okay, so are you asking, could I, Noah, do it, or could our hypothetical artist who has worked with the color blue all her life and has an excellent eye for color do it? Because those are different questions.
I don't see why we need to separate them. We could ask both. We could ask both. Oh, I don't want.
I mean, I think you do kind of need to separate them because that's more the. Okay, sure. So let's say I have the ability to do that if I train to do it, but I'm not trained in color and color theory, so maybe I could right now, maybe I couldn't, but if I trained long enough and worked with it, yes, I would have.
Actually, you know what? I think it would have to be that you've never seen the shades of blue.
Right.
And here's why. Because you're not doing what the original person was doing. The whole point is that the missing shade is a shade that the artist has never seen before.
Yeah. No, I assume so. And I think that follows. So basically I think what you're asking is, well, if you can visualize 1 shade, could you visualize 2? And and those 2, could you put them in order?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, now I know we're going to go, oh, well, can you visualize 1,700 or can you visualize 17,000? Well, I don't think the human brain can hold that much information that accurately. But the principle still stands of if you can visualize one, I don't know why you couldn't visualize 2 or 3 or
so you'd only be limited by the brain's capacity.
Yeah, you'd be limited
knowledge.
By your own brain capacity and knowledge, and because put it this way, mathematics, I can theoretically visualize any number of numbers, but my brain can only hold so many in my head before I start to forget or get things wrong. But I'd say I have the capability to visualize 1, 2, 3, 10, 1,000, 17 trillion. You see what I'm saying? But I just don't have the capacity to hold them all at once.
Okay.
Well. All right. So we've said you can visualize something that doesn't exist. You can visualize multiple things that don't exist. Where do we go from here? Right. What is our friend Davy Hume do you know if the philosophers of the past have come to similar or different conclusions? Because I've said in the past, viewers, I'm not formally trained in this stuff. I have an interest in it and I know a little bit, but I think Justin has more formal education on the topic.
I definitely have more, not necessarily that.
Well, fair enough.
Not to say that I was good at it, but I definitely have more.
And dear viewers, I'm hearing you asking, but Noah and Justin, couldn't you have done research beforehand? Well, we could have.
We could have.
But that would take away from the freeform podcast approach, and also that would require effort.
Yeah, well, I think it's mainly the effort part. But
mainly.
So
I think the point is made.
Yeah. So what this comes from is it seems that Hume, in one paragraph, says, "Hey, humans, like, the only thing that stops us, man, is like our imagination. We can do like anything." Okay. But then he also goes on to say, "But you can't imagine a missing shade of blue." Like he takes the position that no, the artist could not imagine that shade because it would not be a simple idea because he's never seen it, and he wouldn't be combining anything prior to make it. Mm-hmm. So therefore, he could not see the missing shade of blue. It would be impossible. But he literally 2 paragraphs prior said, "Hey, dude, our imaginations are boundless, man."
For the interest of any viewers, which book is this that you're referencing? If any
I think
viewers
it's called a Treatise of Human Understanding.
A Treatise of Human Understanding. Okay, I haven't read it, but I think the name.
But yeah,
all those names sound familiar. Okay, yeah. To that, I might answer or might give the application. Well, couldn't you argue the missing shade of blue is just a combination of a darker shade of blue plus the color white, which are both things you have seen?
Well, okay, so I see what you're saying, and the answer is no. And here's why. You aren't, when you imagine a missing shade, you aren't combining things that you've already seen. Like, you could, like, it makes sense to us, like you're mixing colors in your head, but you're not taking this thing, like a horn and then a horse to make a unicorn.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's actually a good point. So I think that helps clarify what I was trying to say earlier, because that's what I'm saying. You're using processes in your head that you've seen. So I have seen what it looks like when you take, say, dark red and add some lighter paint to it. It becomes lighter. I have seen that before. So I can apply that process in my head to a theoretical and come up with a theoretical result. So I think that's what I was saying. As in, you can't, I don't know about can't, but because I already know what that process looks like in the world, I can duplicate it in my head for something I haven't seen. But I couldn't, if I've never seen what it looks like for a color to become lighter, I probably couldn't. Does that make sense? So
see, I don't think that that's true. I think that if you just because you know the process does not mean that you could apply it and actually see what it would genuinely be.
I agree, but I'm saying if you don't know the process, you cannot do it. I'm not saying if you do know the process, you can, but if you don't know it, you cannot do it. And what I'm saying is if you do know the process, that's when the question becomes more interesting.
Okay, so let's say you've got. I'm trying to think. So you know the process of how colors work from getting darker and lighter. Like, you know this. All All right. So does that mean that
Right.
if you've never seen a particular shade, you could imagine that shade purely based off of you knowing the process? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, yes. I think yes. That is what I'm saying. Because I have seen, let's say, what it looks like. Yeah, let's sticking with colors. I've seen what it looks like if you take blue and lighten it. What the process that happens. I know what happens if you take red and lighten it. So I should be able to apply that process and say what happens if you take green and lighten it. Even if I've never seen that happen, I've seen the process and I've seen what green looks like, so I can apply that mental process to the mental picture of green and come up with a mental, come up with a mental complex idea, or hyper complex idea if we want to use my terminology that doesn't even make sense.
Okay.
Okay.
So the question,
But
I guess
that's
now
what I was
is
saying.
whether
If
or not
I
I
have
can
nev-
agree with that or not.
Yeah. And then I want to clarify, I think if I have never seen what happens when you lighten a color, if you ask me, all right, what does this lighter shade of blue look like? I would sort of shrug my shoulders because I don't even know what you're talking about. Using a different approach, doing a different approach, because going back to the fantasy novel, I have seen what a fantasy novel looks like. That's sort of a broad term, but as in the plot structure, synopsis, characters, whatever. I have seen the English language, so I can take that process of a fantasy synopsis is a process. I don't know what that means, but work with it. The synopsis of a fantasy novel is a process, and I've seen the English language, so I can apply that process to the thing I have seen and come up with something I have not seen. Obviously, again, barring the capacity of the human mind and human error, but the point still stands that this is possible. All right, I think that's the position I'm making for now. And, okay, I think that end result of the sort of complex thing, that's what I'm trying to say by a hyper-complex idea. Whew, okay.
Well, that was long-winded, Noah. Let's see if I can digest it. Okay, so
I'm sorry. It's long-winded because I'm trying to straighten it out as I go along. In fact, I'm taking the things I have seen, as in these philosophical ideas, applying a process to them that I have seen in the past, i.e. the process of philosophizing, and coming up with something maybe new, maybe not. Depends how you want to define it. And I'm sure what I'm saying, I doubt this is a totally original idea. I'm probably just restating or slightly altering what another philosopher has said. But, it's new to me.
Yeah, it's very hard to have an original idea in philosophy, unfortunately.
It is.
But that's okay. We're here for the unoriginal ideas.
We're here for the entertainment value. And what could be more entertaining than listening to people talk long-winded about the color blue and its lighter shade? Is this entertaining?
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
There we go. No, we can add hashtag Spartacus to help the algorithm.
The algorithm will be confused, but sure.
Okay, so I think actually, I am kind of happy because I think I found where I'm supposed to be. I'm gonna put this here. Maybe I can blow up this rock. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe I'm just imagining ways I've seen before of how to do things. Maybe I don't know how to do it.
Nope, rock is not blown.
Apparently, rock beats bomb.
I mean, you've seen the bomb doesn't actually deal very much damage. I think there's certain rocks you can blow up, but it's like a specific formation.
Oh, there's an enemy over there. My sword broke.
Yep, that's how it
I think it was like amazing though. I want it back. Well,
go into you knocked him off the cliff. His sword is yours now.
Yay! It's not a glue. It's not a glowy one, but still.
Yeah. All right. Is there any more to say about Missing Shade of Blue?
Well, okay. So I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. So if you have the process, like the capability of understanding the process, then you can see the missing shade of blue. But if you've never seen the process, you cannot see the missing shade of blue.
Right. And I'm using the term process kind of loosely I think that would be worth... I'm not really sure exactly what I mean, and that would take a while to kind of visualize it, but... well, maybe I should try to define exactly what that means.
No! I gotta drink the juice.
Yeah, well, you got zapped.
I got zapped.
Okay, there we go. I have seen... I'll use that. Okay, how about this? By process, I think I mean something changing, or something changing in some way. So I have seen what it looks like when a video game character, i.e. Link, gets electrocuted, stops moving and dies. So I can imagine, say, and I've seen what other characters look like, so I can come up with a sort of amalgamation of video game characters and invent Blink, the hero of the Legend of Zelda. And I can imagine what it looks like when Blink gets electrocuted, even though I've never seen Blink, but he's made up of things I've seen, and I've never seen this game that Blink comes from, but I've seen other games, and I've seen what happens in those games I've seen the process of A to Z of being electrocuted, so I can visualize that. I think I'm just Is this really any different from what we were saying before? I don't know.
I don't think so. It seems like you're saying that, like, basically, exactly what Hume was saying when he said, like, you can't, like, you could not see the missing shade of blue if you've never... Well, okay, you're adding the idea of having the process, where you've seen the process of the missing shade, and that allows you to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So because the artist is working continually with it, they're allowed to do it. But to someone who's never done it, they could not imagine the missing shade of blue.
Yes. How about this? So let's run two experiments. The missing shade of blue and the missing shade of green. So you show me, you show me, Noah, who is not a color person.
What?
I've seen colors before, obviously, but, well, that's a shame. I've seen colors before, but I'm not experienced with them. I don't study color theory. You show me a gradient of blue with the missing shade of blue. You ask me, can you visualize it? I, Noah, say, no, I can't. I don't know what that would look like. Now, you show me a gradient of green, ascending colors of green with a missing shade of green, and you say, all right, watch closely, and you fill in the missing shade of green so I can see what it looks like. So I know I can now see, oh, okay, so it goes from here to here. Now, you take me back to the missing shade of blue and say, can you visualize this blue? My argument that I'm making right now is yes, I can, because now I have a framework to recognize how it could look like to fill that in.
Okay, so interesting. Okay, I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like just because you can do it with green does not mean you can do it with blue. Just because you've seen that process before does not grant you the ability to use it, like, I want to say indiscriminately. I don't feel like it's not the right word, but
I guess
just because you've seen colors become lighter and darker does not mean that you can do it with any color that you have you ever encountered.
Yeah, and I think I'm making the statement. I more or less. I don't know if I want to say every color, but more or less you can. Well, this is not good. Okay,
so okay,
I don't know how you would prove this one way or the other exactly. I suppose. You could run an experiment like this, but then
you'd have to do like a Mary's room where you just lock a child in a black and white room for their entire life, and then you bring them out and be like, "Can you sort these colors for me real quick?"
Yeah, that sounds mildly unethical.
Hey, we're back to ethics.
Okay, but we lasted a long time though. We're making progress. Really yeah. Huh. Okay. We'll take that, Hume. I outsmarted you, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, wow. Okay, I just stabbed myself. I don't know. I'm a bit of an empiricist. I think that I tend to feel like we are just a combination of, like, our knowledge is just a combination of things that we've experienced prior. That's all it is. And so, for instance, I don't believe I get, like, when I dream or, like, when I imagine, like, I don't know, a painting, that I'm not just using shades of colors that I've already seen. I'm not making up a new shade in my head to, like, paint this apple. I'm just using an apple I've already seen and imagining that shade. I'm re-experiencing that shade. Even if I don't remember it, that's all I'm doing.
Yeah, and I'm saying I'm, what would you call it? Like a soft empiricist, let's say, where yes, to an extent, you need to have the idea of what the apple looks like, and but if you have sufficient experience with what an orange changing looks like, you can apply it to what an apple changing looks like. So I guess, sure, let's call it soft empiricism. I don't think that's the actual term, but whatever. Okay. All right.
All right.
I don't know if I like this, but it's a thing.
And that is the essence of philosophy. I don't like this, but it's a thing. All right, I'm about to die. I think we're good to wrap up.
Yeah,
let's just
I
see
think we've wrapped up. So while you finish dying or not dying, I'll do the party. I'll do the outro. Yeah, and thank you everyone so much for watching and listening, and whatever you're doing. Really means a lot. If you want to help us support that missing shade, ooh, hold on, I got this. If you've never seen what it looks like when you subscribe to our channel, but you've seen what it looks like when you subscribe to other channels, so you can apply that process and visualize what it looks like to hit the subscribe button, and then do it to check yourself. Like, did you visualize it properly? Leave a comment to tell us if you did, and like the video because you like how this was thought-provoking. Wow,
Noah, you really sold it this time.
Thank you.
No. I can do this. I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna die. Gaha! I did it!
All right. You did it.
No. I refuse to die to you.
Yeah, we'll let you finish.
Yeah, no,
either
I
killing
want
or
this
dying.
victory, god dang it.
Yeah. And if you like Justin not dying, leave a like and a comment.
Come on!
I don't know. Do the YouTuber things, please. We beg of you. It is good for the algorithm.
It's good for the algorithm,
And
it's
also,
good for me. I don't have a lot of dopamine in my life, folks. Come on.
Yeah. And plus, if you want, and if you're
did
interested,
it.
share it word of mouth. You did it?
I did it! There's no more! I
Yay.
just totally Rambo'd these guys.
Good for you. All right. So save it here before a meteor falls out of the sky and kills you or something.
I know, right? Rocks fall, everyone. I've got 1,000. Okay, I feel good. That is a good way to end this.
That is a good way to end this. All right.
All right. Well,
and yeah.
thank you, everyone. See you next week, hopefully.
Yep. See you next week.